and welcome back to the Citizens channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And our continuing look, our third look, our part 3 of 3 of our look at Fernandinho, of course, our legend who left us recently. And of course, in part 2, we covered season 16-17 to 19-20. Of course, the pep reign was underway. And in this one, in this part 3, in the final one, we're going to obviously look at the last 2 seasons of Fern. I'm going to start, of course, at season 2021, which, of course, will be the affected season where fans only managed to get in towards the end. And I've entitled it or subtitled it Like the Old Ferner, but No One to See It. So please, if you like what I do, press that subscribe button if you've not already done so. Please press the like button. An old City fan, very happy. And spread the word about the channel if you can, guys. And your support is very, very welcome. Right, Otamendi left, yes, but Diaz and Ake were brought in, which would probably limit centre-half starts for Fernandinho, that's for sure. So it appeared he's going to be mainly backup for Rodri as a DM, because don't forget, Rodri was the DM now. With no Sergio to start the season, Fernandinho would find himself in midfield alongside Rodri, as Pep sort of experimented with more midfielders because we lacked a couple of strikers. We'd sort of go on from there, won't we? The opening win versus Wolves, but the gloss was soon sort of knocked off that as we were thrashed at home, of course, 5-2 by Leicester, less than a week later. As Pep experimented with his front line, Sergio did return, and Torres was also tried. And Fernandinho found himself once again on the periphery of the starting lineup. And then a muscle injury ruled him out for over a month. But City, though, starting their Champions League group well without Fernandinho, was struggling a little bit in the bottom half of the Premier League table after a handful of games. On 20th September 2020, Guardiola confirmed that Fernandinho was selected as the club's new captain. So well done, Ferner. And at least he got a few minutes coming on for Rodri in a 1-0 Champions League win at Olympiacos on the 25th of November, booking City their last 16 spot after only 4 games. Before a 5-0 home win against Burnley on 28th of November, Fernandinho announced to friends that he did not expect to get another contract and may return to Brazil. He came on for Rodri early in the second half of that game. On December the 1st, playing his now familiar double pivot, the old famous double pivot role with Rodri, he helped clinch top spot of the Champions League group in a well-fought 0-0 draw in Porto. Back from injury now, Fernandinho was starting games again as City tried to get back into the title race, though the results were a little bit mixed. A 0-0 draw at Old Trafford, followed by a 1-1 at home to West Bromwich Albion. We're not going to sort of take top spot for us, that's for sure. But better news in the Carabao Cup again, where Fernandinho led City to a 4-1 win at the Emirates to book another semi-final spot. By January, City were 4 points behind Liverpool with a game in hand, so it wasn't too bad. And Pep could rotate his squad as players came back from injuries, etc. And Fernandinho became a key element again for Pep. It was a surprise, though, that Fernandinho was picked over Rodri for the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final against United on January the 6th. But Fernandinho sort of rose to the occasion with a sublime performance and a goal, his first for over 2 years. Finally, City did hit top spot with a 5-0 away victory at West Bromwich Albion at the exact halfway point in the season. They had 41 points. United was second on 40. As Pep got his full squad back, Fernandinho was used sparingly. He was still used, as by game 24 and a 3-1 win at Everton, City were 10 points clear of United and 16 points clear of Liverpool, who were languishing down in 6th spot. Fernandinho was a 90th minute substitute for Rodri, but City pushed on when asked. He was playing superbly, as in a 1-0 win at Arsenal on February the 21st. Fernandinho was an unused sub as City's 21 winning game run, 21 games on the trot, ended at the Etihad against, you guessed it, second place United, who as a result closed the gap to 11 points. Only 11 points behind, guys. Don't mind the gap. All they were doing was delaying the inevitable, of course. Fernandinho played possibly his best game of the season at Everton on March the 20th in a 2-0 victory when he controlled midfield from kickoff as we went 14 points clear again. In the Champions League, Fernandinho had been a bit of a bit part player as City marched to the semi-finals and a date with PSG. Fernandinho led City out at Wembley, but it's to be a semi-final defeat again to Chelsea on the 17th of April. But 8 days later, on the 25th, Fernandinho lifted his first piece of silverware as Manchester City captain. Of course, he started the Carabao Cup final as City beat Tottenham 1-0, and there's fans in it, wasn't there? I was there. We were allowed to have fans in the ground at last for the first time. Of course, it was the fourth year in a row we'd won the title, and it was a great atmosphere considering how few fans were in there as well. And it was Fernandinho's sixth of his career, of course, League Cup winners' medal. So that was a record in itself, making him the competition's most decorated player. I think there's about just under 10,000 there altogether, 2,000 City fans, a couple of thousand Spurs, and I think the other tickets were given to the NHS and various people. But it was great. It was a great day. Great. One of my favourite Wembley trips, in all fairness. On the 2nd of May, Fernandinho got the start he wanted at last in the Champions League, and obviously a 2-0 win, of course, and our first ever Champions League final, which was brilliant. Despite City failing to beat UCL opponents, Chelsea at home just 3 days later, on the 11th of May 2021, United were actually defeated by Leicester 2-1, so that secures City our 5th Premier League title and 7th top division title overall. And this was Fernandinho's 4th Premier League title, and of course his first as captain. On the 29th of May, the media and the fans expected Fernandinho to lead City out against Chelsea, didn't we all? We all expected that in the Champions League final. The Manchester Evening News actually said in the build-up, in the week before this final, all the build-up to it, they said, with one game to go in this laborious campaign, the biggest of them all, Pep must call upon his old warhorse once again. He didn't, and by the time he replaced Bernardo on 64 minutes, all the fight had appeared to have gone out of City, and it was Chelsea who sadly took the title. Have we forgiven Pep yet? Possibly not. In King of the Kippax 279 and the class of 2021, Fernandinho's season was summed up thus. I will just read out from it now. That Fernandinho is still the best defensive midfielder at the club and in the top 3 or 4 in the league at the age of 36 speaks volumes for his professionalism. Completely owned the SHIT Freddie Mercury at the Swamp, and the level of shithousery displayed against PSG had to be seen to be believed. Foul opponent, smile at ref, pretend to help opponent up, avoid card, foul opponent, smile at ref, and rinse and repeat. Still hoping that a 1-year extension might be in the offing, and the editor's added a note to the bottom of that. It is, and it was. There we go. Not a bad little season. His season stats, he played 36. 14 of those were a substitute, though. He scored 1 goal, a 78% win rate, 12 yellows, and no red cards. And we go on to season 21-22, of course. A season, I've subtitled this, a season perhaps too far, but still Mr. Dependable. On the 29th of June 2021, Fernandinho once again signed a new 1-year deal with the Citizens. Yeah, I think it was rumoured the following March that they could be offered yet another one. But I think how this season went with the Pep sort of playing of him, etc., and Fernandinho's thoughts on his playing regular football, I think that was a bit hopeful, but was never going to happen. Fernandinho would make, of course, his first of 2 visits to Wembley this final season for the Community Shield against Leicester. He'd only got 1 in the cabinet at the moment, but unfortunately on the 7th of August, Leicester claimed that shield, of course. Despite a pretty competent display by City, it was a last-minute goal. Fernandinho played very, very well. It just wasn't to be. Fernandinho would have a frustrating start to the season as well, as starts were few and far between. And likewise, injuries led to a stuttering start for City as well. Yeah, Pep was struggling with squad injuries. On the 16th of October, Fernandinho replaced KDB in a 2-0 win over Burnley for his 250th Premier League appearance, second only to Willian, as far as reaching that milestone as far as Brazilians are concerned. Fernandinho, a rare start, of course, in the League Cup ties in previous seasons, found himself starting the Carabao Cup 4th round at West Ham's London Stadium, of course, but he wasn't to get that magical 7th League Cup medal, as we sort of went out on penalties in that one. But again, all through this game, I think Fernandinho was our man of the match. I was there last night. He broke up any sort of threat that West Ham did have, which wasn't much, and it was just poor finishing that cost us that game. Of course, we went out on penalties. On a snowy night, yes, against West Ham on the 27th of November, Fernand was only on the pitch from the 87th minute, but he made it 2-0 in the 90th minute. Sort of won the game for City, although West Ham did pull a late goal back, but he did get the second goal. By early December, City at top spot. And let's be honest about it, it was a position we'd only relinquished for the odd day or two when we had games in hand towards the end of the season over Liverpool. So more or less we stayed on top spot for the rest of the season. As COVID hit the squad, we'd still had a bit of a COVID outbreak. There was a bit of panic amongst people that the season will be held again or postponed again. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Further missed a couple of games because of this in January, but City kept on regardless, like a runaway train. On the 12th of February 2022, after an impressive performance against Norwich City, a gentleman called Jamie Redknapp, I think I've heard of him, referred to Fernandinho as the number one defensive midfielder the Premier League has ever seen, whilst mentioning that he thought Fernandinho was a better player than the former Arsenal and France midfielder Patrick Vieira, former United legend Roy Keane, and former Chelsea midfielder Claude Makelele. Well done, Jamie. I agree. Didn't know you spoke such sense, in all fairness. On the 9th of March, Werner made his 100th Champions League appearance in a 0-0 draw against Sporting, and it was to be the last time he would be in the starting lineup in the Champions League, although he'd still make a couple of sub-appearances, including coming on in a 3-1 extra time defeat. Of course, we won't talk about it too much at the Bernabeu. On the 12th of April, Werner announced that he would be leaving City, yes, at the end of the season. And in a press conference, Pep wasn't even aware of it. He was shocked when the journalists commented to him. I don't think we were shocked particularly. I think most City fans saw it coming because of the way the season had been panning out and the way he'd been played sparingly as well during this season. You could see, obviously, that the end was nigh, if you like. Werner would make his last visit, and a disappointing visit again, leading City out to Wembley, leading City out in the FA Cup semi-final against Liverpool on the 16th of April. Not to be a fairy tale ending for Werner or us, of course, as we got beat 3-2. And he just, of course, finished his City career with just one FA Cup win to his name as well, which is, if you think of 6 League Cups and just one FA Cup, not great. We could have done, but it's not his fault, but we should have done a lot better. On the 30th of April, Werner got his second goal of the season and his final goal ever, of course, for City in competitive games. Who's to say he won't be back in some form or the other, playing a testimonial or something. A 4-0 win at Leeds, of course. And this was also voted, I don't know where these awards come from, the most powerful goal of the season by, of course, Sky Sports and the Premier League. As the season reached its climax, City, we held a 1-point advantage, didn't we, over Liverpool? As I said, Liverpool did sneak ahead, but we still had a game in hand as the games run out. And with 3 games to go, a defensive injury crisis. We know Werner's played centre-half and done things for us in the past, but when he's been a little bit younger, so we were left without Diaz, Stones and Walker. And not a totally fit Aki by all accounts as well, because he was played sparingly as well. Of course, Pep will turn to our Brazilian hero to step in the breach, as he would do. For the first time in the whole season, Fernandinho actually started 3 games. The last 3 games of the season, he started all 3, and he'd never done that. The most he'd managed all season was just starting 2 previously to this, which shows what sort of season he'd had. Despite looking a little weary, and he did, that was the comments made after the 2-2 draw at West Ham, he would lead us out, of course, for that must-win final home game of the season against Aston Villa. And despite the return of John Stones, Pep threw another, as he does, curveball into the situation. Pep decided to play Werner alongside Laporte. I mean, even though we love Werner. I mean, obviously, most of us thought Werner would be on the bench, play Stones and bring in Cancelo and Zinchenko as fullbacks. But no, Pep had other ideas. I don't think he's one for sentimentality, is he? But not unusual. He has done it. He has done it in his time at City, but it just seemed a strange decision for Pep to risk Werner next to Laporte against Aston Villa. And it didn't really work out, unfortunately. Of course, Werner was subbed at half-time. He was having a bit of a torrid time from an half-decent striker in Watkins. And, of course, Werner had been struggling a little bit. A bit of a strange decision, as I say, by Pep to actually put him in there in the first place. But thankfully, as we know, he returned to the pitch to pick up that Premier League trophy, and later was honoured later, of course, with his own little send-off. But sadly, yeah, it was sort of half-empty Etihad. Although it was announced, I think a lot of City fans had forgot about this and left euphoric and forgot all about to get to the pubs and get to enjoy themselves, and forgot all about this little presentation, little thing with Fernandinho at the end of the game. So he did get a good send-off from the thousands who stayed, but it would have been nice to see a few more there. But as I said, I'll give most City fans a benefit of the doubt on that one. As I say, I knew it was going on, and I'm sure most did, but a lot were probably worse aware, just wanted to go out and get to town and enjoy themselves. But at least there were plenty there to wish him well anyway. So there you go for this final season. I've seen him step in as and when required, and that's what it had been. So there was never any chance of him getting another season out of him. Yeah, he did get caught out for pace occasionally, but he never, ever, ever let himself or City down in that last season. And he put in some outstanding performances. Yeah, I look back at some of the newspaper reviews and some of the scores he got, and it was absolutely excellent. His season starts for that final season, yeah. Played 33, 16 of which were a sub, so almost half. Scored 2 goals, a 70% win rate. We won't quibble at that. 5 yellows. So it's, yeah, all right. He didn't play as many games, but he got even better at getting away with it. And no red cards, of course, which is great. And his final medal haul, his final winning top for City, total for City. 6 League Cups, brilliant. 5 Premier Leagues, stunning. 1 FA Cup, bit disappointing, not his fault. And 1 Community Shield, bit disappointing, not his fault. Yeah, but there you go. Fernandinho, I hope you enjoy this 3-part. I mean, it's not a final goodbye for me, and hopefully you lot as well. I've no doubt whatsoever that as an adopted Mancunian, which he admitted to being, he'll be back at City in one role or another. He's gone back to Brazil now. He's going back to Brazil to play for his first team again. But I'm sure we'll see him and his family back here in the UK, and even if he's only an ambassador from a distance, I'm sure he'll keep his connections to City, because I think he loves us as much as we loved him, and of course we give him, I give him, and we all give him our best wishes for the future, no matter what he does. He commented by tweet. We come back to this again. We have mentioned it. Of course, coming to Man City in 2013 was the best decision I ever made. Thank you, he said. We all agree with that. Yeah, and obviously he commented, that last game as well. He retweeted his 2013 tweet about his first day at work, and obviously it became his last day at work. Fernando Luis Rosa, Fernandinho, a City number 25, a legend. Thank you. Thanks for watching, guys. Please, whatever you're doing, please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Bye-bye, Ferner. Bye for now.